Hi there, this is one of a number of videos relating to the Hotpoint FDW60 dishwasher, which will involve dismantling and component replacement. I'll also be covering some of the error codes associated with this model during the relevant videos. Before you start work on any domestic appliance, make sure it's turned off from the mains power supply first. In this particular video, I'll be addressing the flashing 7th neon on the console panel. One of the possible causes for this error message is the thermistor or thermistor circuit, but this particular fault can also be attributed to the 6th neon flashing as well. Therefore, this video will cover both error messages. The same error messages can also be found on the Hotpoint SDW60, the DWT10, as well as a number of other models made by Hotpoint, Creda, Indesit, Ariston and Bosch, although it's probably not limited to just these makes. 6th or 7th neons start to flash after the machine has been working for a short time. The manual states for the 6th neon it's a thermistor related fault, which would also cover the module, but for the 7th neon it's a heating related fault where the NTC has come adrift from the cabinet. One option is the thermistor in the door, or it may be related directly to the heater, but that will be covered in another video. There's no way I know of to test the thermistor on these machines, and because the module and thermistor come as a unit, it would mean replacing the module as well. To gain access to it, you'd need to remove the outer door panel, which is held on by these screws. Start from the top of the door and undo the screws until you get to the bottom one. Don't undo that one just yet. Move to the other side and undo those screws. Now grip the lower section of the panel and door lining with one hand while you remove the first bottom screw. This will prevent the panel from dropping down. Keep a hold of it. Now remove the other bottom screw. Remove the polystyrene insulation and place it on one side. If you do have trouble with the thermistor, you'll need to remove the fascia panel, which means you'll first have to unplug the connections from the soap dispenser. But if it's away from the door lining, you may be lucky and just refitting it could solve the problem. However, if it's still tightly attached to the door panel, then it could mean it's faulty, or there's a fault somewhere in the circuit. The trouble is you can't buy just the thermistor on its own. Should you decide that this is where the fault lies, then you'll have to buy the module as well, because they come as a unit. Open the door again and remove the screws along the top edge, but be sure to hold the panel or it will drop off and could get damaged. Before you remove the console panel, close the door again, or you could be exposing yourself to the sharp edges around the top of the door lining. The panel will still be connected to the machine via the wiring loom, so you won't be able to move it far. But as you've disconnected it from the dispenser, you can lay it on the ground. Put a towel or something down first to prevent scratching it though. When you're taking something apart for the first time, then do it slowly and make notes or take photos of wiring and fitments, so you know where everything goes when it's time to reassemble it. There's no prize for doing the job fast, just aggravation when you've forgotten where a part or a wire fits. The edge connectors are held on by tabs on the back plate, which have to be eased out slightly so they can be removed. The module will bend enough to give the clearance to remove them, but both the module and back plate come as one unit and shouldn't be separated. Refitting the edge connectors is straightforward providing you have them up the right way, and make sure they're in far enough to be held on by the tabs on the back plate. Replace the rest of the wires and secure it to the panel. Hook the fascia panel on the top edge of the door, but be careful because this is sharp. Hold it in place while you get at least 2 screws fitted, or it may not be seated properly. Refit all the connections you remove from the dispenser and double check the thermistor is seated against the door lining tightly, so it's making good contact, or you could get the error light flashing again. Place the insulation and padding, making sure you've not caught any wires. The outer door panel fits onto 2 lugs on the underside of the control panel and therefore has to be raised into place, not just slid in. To prevent the panel from falling off when you open the door, hold the 2 sections together at the bottom with your free hand. Then once it's fully open, fit one of the screws at the base of the panel. The top is already held in place by the 2 lugs, so this screw will prevent it from separating and allow you to fit the rest. With the panel secured, you can move to the other side and fit the bottom screw there. All that remains is to replace the rest of the door screws and the job's done. On behalf of Selfix UK, we'd like to thank you for watching this video and hope you found it interesting. Goodbye.